My name is Graham Smith. I'm 63 years old and I was born in Wolverhampton in the West Midlands in England. I played rugby for 20 years, started a little bit late. I was nearly 18 when I first played, and I've been a professional coach for 30 years. I am the rugby director of Estonian Rugby. Rugby is an invasion sport played by either 15 players or 7 players, played by male and female. It's a contact sport. It can be highly aggressive, but there are also a number of non-contact variations of rugby for people who want to play the sport for its skill and don't want to take the contact element, mainly through touch rugby and tag rugby. I think the most difficult people for people to understand when they first start playing rugby is that you cannot propel or pass the ball forward. The ball must be passed either laterally or behind you. The other one is offside. Offside can be quite complex at times, but basically if you have the ball on the field, you need to be your side of the ball with your team. We have currently roughly 100 registered players, male and female. We do have emerging talents, both in the male and female. We have good players coming from transitions from other sports, and they bring a skill set from those other sports that benefit rugby. We need to make big news. I think that's the most important thing. We need to make people aware of rugby in Estonia. It is growing. Our latest recruitment campaign, we secured over 9 new players from one campaign, and we will campaign again in May. The big news I think really is that we will be playing in the Rugby Europe Sevens in June, both male and female, and this year I am confident that we'll be far more competitive and more successful. Yes, in the south of France rugby's huge, and in Paris you have some major rugby clubs. Also on the Atlantic coast you've got La Rochelle, but mainly in the south of France, probably around Toulon and Toulouse, the most recognised teams. When Pierre Villepreux started with Toulouse, they played a brand of rugby that I think changed, I wouldn't say changed the world game, but changed rugby a little bit, especially in Europe. When Johnny Wilkinson was playing for Toulon, I thought Toulon were a good team, but Toulon also brought in some big players from around the world. Great players of France, there's many, and at my age I can go back to remembering the Spanghero brothers, who were 2, let's call them dominant figures in the game. You've got Cholet, Papa on board, Rumar. These were great players, and Serge Blanco and Philippe Seller I think really did change the game in France, the way they played. And probably more recently, Thierry Dusatoir is as good as any back row player in the world. Whether he's as good as Richie McCaw, debatable, but Dusatoir was one hell of a player. Joueurs. I think that is a bit of a cliche, to be honest. I think there's a misunderstanding about flair in rugby. To play rugby with ambition and with width and with flair, you have to have a group of forwards that can get you the ball. If you haven't got that group of forwards that can get you the ball, then you won't succeed. But French flair, I think, is about having vision. And I think that's what Pierre Villepreux started at Toulouse, was to play, to coin a phrase, a cliche, play with the head up and see what is on, no matter where you are on the field. Working. It's our league season here in Estonia. We play summer rugby here. We have 3 games in July and we have 4 games from the 29th of August. I will watch as much of the World Cup as I can. But yeah, so I don't have tickets at the moment to go to any of the games. If I could, I would, but no, I'll be working. It's going to be a huge World Cup for France. The pressure is going to be huge. There is also always a saying in England that we never know which French team's going to turn up, the good one or the bad one. They've got to manage that pressure of home. But currently, I think that if you were picking on form, France and Ireland will certainly be close. And I think at the moment people are starting to forget New Zealand, and I think that's a very, very dangerous thing